your horoscope for 2013, and I want to explain you quickly how to get the best benefit of those videos. I want you always to check the prediction from your ascendant sign. It's not the same as your sun sign. If you can find your ascendant sign by going to my website astrolada.com, where I have a birth chart calculator, and you need to know the exact time of your birth, because this is the most precise prediction for you. This is the real sign that you have, actually, the ascendant sign. And if you know your time of your birth, enter all the details and go below the table, which will show what the degree and the sign of your ascendant is. Mark them down and listen to the whole prediction for your ascendant sign. Also listen to the prediction of the sun and moon sign. You know your sun sign, everyone knows their sun sign. If you're born in April, you're Aries. If you're born in December, you're usually Sagittarius. And the moon sign, which is very personal. It can give you great insight and depth about what is happening psychologically and emotionally within yourself. For some women, the moon horoscope will be much more precise. For men, sometimes the sun sign will be more precise, but always the ascendant sign will be very precise for everyone. And then I want you to listen to the second part of the sun and moon predictions, horoscopes, because I give you specific transits there, and they will be overpowering the influence of everything else that I hear. If you hear your exact day of birth, your exact degree of the ascendant of the moon mentioned in the horoscope, then this really will ring a bell for you and you'll really feel it in that ear. But always listen to the ascendant prediction for the sign. And if you don't know what your time of birth is, then you can contact one of my psychics for just $14, for just $15 and have a reading with them, because they don't need your time of birth. They are amazing. I've headhunted them from all over the world. And they're amazing. They just tell you details, dates, names. It's fantastic what they can do for you without time of birth or date of birth or anything, because they speak directly to, they see images and hear images. So please enjoy. Anyone who has a question, they can contact my psychics on me on my website astrolada.com. Sagittarius 2013. And we always judge what is happening, what the big trends in your life will be through the position of the planet Saturn and Jupiter in your horoscope. They're like the two hands of the watch, of the clock. Saturn is the small hand, which moves much slower, and Jupiter is the big hand, which moves a bit faster. And they indicate the positions, that the areas of your life which will be of most importance to you. And Saturn right now for 2013 and part of 2014 will be in your 12th house. This is the last house of astrology. It's a house of endings. It's a house of finishing up a whole process before Saturn comes into your first house, when it's time for big new beginnings in your life from 2015 onwards. I mean, you can still have some smaller beginnings, but not like super extreme changes, the changes that you do now might not be there forever with your life. They might be smaller, they might last for 2 or 3 years only. And when Saturn goes into your first house from 2015, there will be, especially if you're ascendant in Sagittarius, definitely you feel it. Then you have a proper new start, and now the things that being started, they might be more as a way of ending up a whole bigger process. And as I said, it indicates Saturn in the 12th house that there will be a lot more, there might be losses or endings in your life. There will be conclusions of stories that have been happening in your life. And for some people it might be great, it might feel very liberating, because they're kind of letting go of certain responsibilities, of certain attachments, and of certain connections with circumstances or people in their life which have been painful or harrowing for them. Which have finished their cycle basically. But for people who do not like change, who are not good at letting go, who are a bit afraid of drifting, so to speak, of letting go without knowing what's to happen, because you kind of start knowing what is really to happen when Saturn goes into your first house, when you have more willpower to make things happen with your own will, when life gives you the ability to affect circumstances in your life with hard work and your will. But while Saturn is in the 12th house, you kind of almost feel overpowered by what's happening around you, because it's a bit of a karmic moment when karma takes over, and basically almost it feels like circumstances in your life you don't have much influence over, and they're dragging you down you know, down the current with you. And people who know how to let go and let God, and even if they feel unsure where this current is taking them, still trust it, trust the higher power and flow with it, they'll go through this period much more with ease. You know, it doesn't mean let go fully of yourself and not do anything. It means trust whatever comes to you. Even if it's something painful and testing, just trust in your higher self. That is the best thing to happen for you right now. But people who like to make things happen with their own willpower, who like to have control over life, who like to be the one who, oops, who like to be the one who, you know, who are running the show, running the game, they might feel a bit frustrated and overpowered, because it's as if life takes them where it wants to on the current, and they don't have the power and the, you know, it feels, you know, as I said, it's almost like karmic, because 12th house is a karmic house, and when something is concluding, bigger energies than your own willpower are running the show, so to speak, bigger cosmic energies. And also it's a period when the last 30 years, the cycle that started with Saturn going to your first house 30 years ago, if you are younger than 30 years, it's still the ending of a cycle. It's basically the end of such cycle. Always the person has to make reassessment of their life. They have to withdraw more into themselves and analyze what they've achieved so far. Reassess the wrong mistakes they have made and the goods they have made. It's a period more of meditation, withdrawing into yourself and kind of preparation, concluding the old, getting prepared psychologically for the new, even if you don't know what the new is, drawing the line below all your life, what you've achieved and where, you know, what you've achieved and how well you've performed morally and spiritually, so to speak, gaining understanding. And this is the focus. People who are more spiritually inclined will go through this process with much more ease. People who are more self-analytical, self-introspective, more maybe who meditate, who pray, who believe in a higher power, they will go through the Saturn transit in the 12th house with more deeper understanding and meaningfulness. But people who are much more material, who would like to make things happen, to manifest things, who do not believe in a higher power, they'll feel a bit, as I said, overpowered and a bit even helpless sometimes, you know, and drained as well, because they cannot make things happen. When 12 houses, not house of manifestation, is a house of the invisible, of things dissolving, of things ending. And when you're trying to make something extremely big change in your life, or say, for instance, even relocate from one big career to another big career, change your, you know, fully the direction of your life, well, Saturn is in the 12th house, it might be difficult for you to happen unless it's really what your higher soul wants and it will take you there. But usually expect to be kind of surprised and not to have the willpower to make things, or to put as much willpower you want, but the things, if it's not meant to happen, it's not gonna happen. Well, Saturn is in the 12th house. Bigger powers take control over. Also 12th house is house of paying back karmic debt, so some people might have to read back what they've sown in the last 30 years, and if they've been good, and if they've been, you know the moral laws, the codes of behavior, this will be one period of rest for them. This will be a period when basically they get a reward for this, because 12th house is the karma, good or bad karma, doesn't matter. If you behaved well in past lives or this life, actually you might receive a lot of things from the universe without even making an effort, and or just like a period when you have a respite and when you kind of bask there in the glory or whatever of life, and you kind of imagine running down a stream and really enjoying it, and the stream is very peaceful and it's taking you where you're supposed to be. This is kind of the current of life when Saturn is in the top. But people who've been unmoral, untruthful, who've been, and they actually haven't repented. Repent means that you really regret about that after you do it, and you promise to yourself never to do it again, and you kind of use willpower and you haven't done it, you really stopped yourself. And if they've been doing this for the past 30 years, it's okay, then this period will be good. But if they haven't, and if they've been doing the same mistakes over and over, even if it's through ignorance, if they've been cheating over and over, if they've been being untruthful, if they've been, you know what the moral laws are, you know when you're doing something wrong over and over, if they're overly indulging the physical senses, if they're overeating, over drinking, having addictions. This is a period of payback when problems will crop up, when you actually reap the bad karma. Or if they've been unfaithful to others, others can turn on them and be unfaithful. That's why when Saturn is in the 12th house, it almost says like the house of hidden enemies, where someone can be undermining you or cheating on you, or kind of deluding you, or undermining you behind your back, or kind of a treachery almost. But this will only happen this will only happen if you have been doing it the same to others and you haven't changed your ways in advance. And now when it happens to you, you will see the consequences of this and try and hopefully change your ways in the new cycle. So this cycle has the purpose of it is to improve you by showing you, by reaping back your karma, so you can start the new cycle wiser and without karmic debt. So a lot of you will have like an increasement of having to pay off certain negative things maybe through others, through difficulties that they experience in their life, through others somehow, hidden enemies or whatever, creating this in their life. But they should keep in mind that while this is happening, keep repeating to yourself, is the end of a big cycle, especially if your ascendant is Sagittarius, is the end of a 30-year-old cycle. It's good that all the karma come back to me now, so I start on a clean slate afterwards. So I will be patient and perseverant, and I would accept whatever comes to you. But after that, when I start again a new cycle, I'll be an improved, better person, and I'll start on a clean slate, as I said. And also Jupiter is in your 7th house. This is the big hand of the clock. 7th house is the house of relationship, especially for Sagittarius ascendants till the middle of July 2013. So for some of you, might be the time when they meet the love of their life, or at least some important love and relationship. At least someone who is very special in their life, who helps them move forward, who helps them progress, who opens their mind, because Jupiter is a very mind-opening planet, is a very inspirational planet, or is a very like a teacher planet, so those people who are that you meet right now can be a source of benefit, a source of knowledge, a source of inspiration, and sometimes they might not be even lovers or relationships. They can be just normal people who are like teachers to you, who bring you some upliftment. Also, 7th house is house of lust and desire. For some people, that's why it's a period when people fall in love and desire others. And it's also a period when you welcome more new people. You become more open to new people in your life. And actually, till June, you tend to get much more positive influences from people rather than negative. In being in a team, in cooperating with others, even though Saturn is in the 12th house, which means that others might be undermining in some way, or hidden enemies, but open people that you're in open relationship with, like business partners or marriage partners, they'll be a source of happiness for you till June. Afterwards, Jupiter moves from your 7th house of relationship and marriage, so this area of your life will no longer be such a source of happiness and improvement and such source of positive energy, because Jupiter brings all this positive energy and growth. So afterwards it becomes a bit more difficult, maybe trusting with people, as I said, with this ability, because of Saturn in the 12th house, when sometimes bad karma comes back to you. But till June, it's very likely some people to meet loves of their life, to start new relationships. Also, being in partnership will be a source of hope, with a source of increase and growth. So instead of trying to do something on your own, pair up with another person. Someone can help you to achieve your goals, or maybe listen to an advice from another person, or to something coming from another person can help you rather than trying to do it on your own. And it's also good for people who have their own businesses, where they exchange goods with another, like traders, like consultants, like advisors, people who work one-to-one with another person, because 7th house rules one-to-one relationships. And most people who are in service industry, or who have their own businesses, who are exchanging goods, like trading, as I said, or giving services for money, they're also ruled by the 7th house. And while Jupiter is in the 7th house, they have much bigger chance to increase their business, to be successful in what they're doing, to improve their clientele, their relationship with clientele as well. So that's good for trading and for business. And seventh house also rules countries far away from where you are. First house is you, seventh house is far away, is the opposite house. If first house is here, seventh house is the opposite. So when Jupiter is transiting once in 12 years through the seventh house, some people relocate to different countries. And till June, this will be auspicious if your ascendant in Sagittarius, relocating to another country, going to live abroad, will be auspicious. Afterwards, I cannot guarantee. But before that, it's definitely auspicious because of this Jupiter influence, which always brings the positive developments of life. And then Jupiter from the middle of the year moves into your 8th house. And from there, 8th house is the house of mutual finances. So actually, finances coming from a partner can improve, or partner can be a source of help for you financially, sometimes emotionally as well. Usually it's the marriage partner, but sometimes can be a business partner. So it is good for sorting out financial deals and affairs, especially when they're mutual financial deals. It's also taxes, so it's good you can even have some tax return to you unexpected. It's money coming to you from others and help. So some of you might get some inheritance, some of you might get some taxes back from the second part of the year, some of you can get just some unexpected financial fluke, or some of you can just feel more supported by the person close to you, and you need that while Saturn is in the 12th house. When the person is paying off karma and concluding an old process, is good when you can trust, when at the same time Jupiter is in the 8th house, so you can not fully lose your faith in people, but you can trust others by them helping you. Because 12th house is house of expenses, when you're paying back things, you know, as I said, it's concluding of karma, and Saturn will make you pay back things, but 8th house is house of receiving from others, so Jupiter will kind of balance this paying back influence of Saturn, at least for a year, from the middle of 2013, by others, not only you paying back to life and to the universe or to others, and spending, which is 12th house, but also receiving a gift as well. So it's easier for you, the Saturn in the 12th house influence, because of Jupiter balancing effect, while others can help you as well. Not only you giving, you know, you can gain emotional support and spiritual support and financial support from others, whether it's parents, loved ones, it doesn't matter, the government. 8th house is house of intimacy, so intimacy can deepen between you and another person. It's usually one-to-one relationship, and you can really open up to another person as you've never had before, and another person can really help you. It doesn't mean if it's a lover, it can be a psychologist, because 8th house rules psychology. The 8th house is the house of emotional and psychological blemishes of the person, weaknesses, paranoias, and fears. And Jupiter is a light planet, is the planet of divinity and Godhead, and the planet of light and, you know, inspiration. So when it goes into the house of your emotional hang-ups and your weaknesses and your sins, all the sins, the 8th house, this is what it is. It's a difficult house as well, but when it goes there, all your fears, overpowering weaknesses, you put light into them with the planet Jupiter. You kind of put illumination and enlightenment, and usually people can really benefit from going to psychological counseling sessions, or just having someone very close that they share with, they open their heart very deeply to, and express what, you know, their deepest motivations, and this will be a healing process. 8th house is house of all those difficulties, as I said, all those psychological hang-ups and all those psychological fears and paranoias and things that are overpowering to the person, but at the same time, 8th house rules the process of healing from those, the process of improving your psychological being as well, giving you emotional security, and Jupiter will help this process, will trigger this process of healing. So benefiting from psychologists, communicating with others, you know, communicating with, not communicating, but on a much more deep psychological, personal levels, illuminating your psychological difficulties and your fears and paranoias. 8th house is also addictions, anything which has power and control over us that we feel we cannot control, but which is our own doing, or which is another person that is trying to suppress us and control us, but usually our own doing, our own fears, paranoias, our own addiction. Jupiter can help you have light on them and can help you overcome them through inspiration, overcome them not through difficult fight and battle, but through divine grace almost, because this is what planet Jupiter is. But this is overall what the period is bringing for you. So there can be financial increase from the middle of 2013, very likely positive relationship developments for you, healing of old relationships, starting a new one for the first half of the year. And then keep in mind that throughout the whole of 2013 and 14, you're on a concluding phase. You're on a concluding phase when you might be letting go of something, and you might have to learn to live with somehow with your power, with your willpower being overpowered by the universe and taking you on paths that you haven't expected. You know, it's sometimes a difficult process for some people. And try to be as moral as possible while Saturn is in the 12th house, because you will have no forgiveness with the planet Saturn in the 12th house. It will come and bite you back. Try to be as moral. If you have any hidden affairs, if you have any illegal issues, if you have any relationships or any dishonesty in your life, it will backfire on you. I'm just warning you. No matter how thumbs down you're showing on this video, I want to be honest with you because I've seen it over and over. So straighten out your path, clear up your karmic dirt and muck and all the things, you know, the patterns and behavior you've had to now, so you can start on a clean slate within 2 years from now, and you'll be given a great chance in life within 2 years, something that really fires you high into success, but only if you clear up, if you conclude the old phase properly. Thank you so much, Sagittarius.